In this video, I'll be doing a brief history of the creation of the French state of Normandy in the 10th century. There's going to be a follow-up video after this. I just decided to put out a brief history of Normandy so that it gave a bit of background in case you guys aren't familiar with Normandy and the whole story of why it's called Normandy and how this debate about whether the Normans were French or Norse, how it's come about and why there's that factor for the difficulty in deciding which culture they were. So yeah, if you're waiting around, that one should be uploaded in a few days. Now, the blue bit on this map is the territory of modern-day France. But if we were to go back a century and a bit to 800 AD, there was no France. Yeah, there were happier times, you know, peace and love and, well, not quite, but you know, whatever. In the place of France was Francia. France is called France because of the Franks, which is also a first name, a surname, a medieval currency, and a hot dog. But when I'm saying Frank, Francia, Franks, Frankish, I mean the tribe from northern Germany that eventually conquered most of Central Europe. So one of the most famous Franks was Charlemagne, who was king of the Franks, and he captured Rome, I think around 800, that sort of time period he captured Rome, and had himself crowned Holy Roman Emperor. When Charlemagne died in 814 AD, his empire looked like this, extending from the border of Spain all the way to the eastern fringes of modern Germany, south into Italy, and north into Denmark. I think one of the most northerly cities in the empire was Hamburg. So at the turn of the 9th century, dragon heads started to appear on British and French horizons, and the age of the Vikings came crashing in. In AD 799, the monastery of Saint-Philibert in northern France is attacked and plundered by Norsemen. 11 years later, the Danes cross into Frisia and pillage Dorestad. The next big attack comes in 845, when the Vikings deliver two blows to the Franks. First, they sail down the Rhine and burn Hamburg to the ground. Losing their most northerly city wasn't bad enough. The infamous Ragnar Lothbrok decides to make it worse. The same year as his fellow Danes destroy Hamburg, he sails down the Seine and attacks Paris, the seat of the French king at the time. After they sack part of the city, Charles the Bold pays them 7,000 French livres to leave. Yeah, maybe that's why they called them livres, because it made the Vikings leave. Yeah. Ragnar and his army might have sailed away in AD 845, but they, and more like them, would return to Francia frequently in following years in search of plunder. Now, this goes on until a guy called Charles the Simple becomes king of the Franks. He sees how ineffective Frankish armies and crumbling coastal defences built by Charlemagne are at stopping the raiders. Now, Charles has a simple idea.
We must join with him, Gundam.
That's right, he joins with the Vikings. He thinks, if you can't beat them, well, might as well join them. So, in AD 911, he invites a famous Viking leader, Rollo, to settle on the northern coast above Paris as a buffer. Now, a bit about Rollo. He was born in Norway around the same time that Ragnar was attacking Paris. So, sorry Vikings fans, they weren't brothers. Ragnar was actually old enough to be Rollo's granddad. Now, a common misconception about Normandy is where the word comes from. It's a province in the north of France, so many people draw the conclusion that it is made up of the French word for north, which is nord. However, this is not the case. The Italian historian and bishop, Liutprand of Cremona, used the word Nordmanni to describe the Viking raiders that plagued the northern coast of France. Now, Nordmanni can be translated to Northman, so a man who comes from the north case in this being a Scandinavian, and therefore Nordmanni is used to describe Viking. However, Old Frankish, the language of the Franks, and French are not very alike. Modern French as we know it pretty much comes from Parisian, which was the dialect around Paris. So as time went on, the word Nordmanni became Frenchified, if you will, and the D at the end of the word, Nord, became silent, and so Nordmanni lost the D and the I, and in the end, in French, became Normand, and Normandie is where the Normans live, and in English, obviously, we have the word Normandy and Norman, so that's where it comes from. I hope you enjoyed this video on the brief history of the Normans and why the Normans are an interesting people and how they came from Scandinavia and came to be living in the north of France. So I will shortly be uploading a video on or if the Normans are French or should be seen as Norse and the different arguments and things like that. So that'll be a little debate sort of analysis video. But yeah, so please like, comment, subscribe, tell me what you thought. If you want any of the sources again, just ask me, you know, I'll put them in the description. It's the same music as last time, I'll put that in the description as well. And yeah, this has been History with Hilbert. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you later, guys.